Do you want to know some ghost stories in the Chinese Forbidden City in Beijing? The grandest, the most luxurious, and the mysterious palace, a place that has been standing for over 600 years, ruled by so many kings, two families with the surnames Zhu and Aixinjueluo across Qing and Ming dynasty. The Forbidden City is the largest and well-preserved wooden palace in the world. If you ever visited the Forbidden Palace, you will know how big it is. Even you spend a whole day in the Forbidden Palace and you still can't see the whole palace. If you ever get a chance to visit the Forbidden City, you will see there are many places are still locked and it's not open for public. The Forbidden Palace will usually close before 5 p.m. And if you ever lived in Beijing, you will know, and the Forbidden Palace doesn't have a night watchman because it used to some really eerie and weird thing happened in the evening. People sometimes see things which they cannot explain. Inside of the Forbidden City, many people, royal families lost their life, bit of like the Game of Thrones. Of course, there's a lot of eerily ghost stories and spirits inside of the city. After 5 p.m., when the yang energy calms down, the yin energy comes back. So usually you don't see visitors in Forbidden City after 5 p.m. There is no night watchman. Usually they have really big guard dogs at night to protect the Forbidden City, but there's no longer human beings inside Forbidden City after 5 p.m. It's very hot in the summer in Beijing. The things around Forbidden City start to get feeling really cold and chill, and you can kind of sense those eerily atmospheres coming up. Those watchmen they used to use protect Forbidden City, they always see some spirits and some eerie thing which kind of affecting their health and even their children's health. After they live in the Forbidden City at night for quite a lot of time, those spirits are kind of torn on them, and it's also affecting their future generations. That's why nowadays the Forbidden City never have another watchman at night. All the living things leaves after 5 p.m. It's not difficult to imagine how brutal and how toxic it is like back in days for those royal families living there, with one king who can have so many wives. One of the most famous ghost story is the haunting of Zhen Fei's well. According to the legend, when night falls and when it's quiet, you will see a ghostly figure who dressed in Qing dynasty costume appear near the well, and that is Zhen Fei. She would either be singing a quietly song or started weeping. So what is the story behind this eerie legend? Let's start with who is Zhen Fei herself. So Zhen Fei is from the part of the royal family. She is the beloved concubine of Emperor Guangxu. She is from a very noble Manchu family. She was selected as Gui Fei, a high-ranking concubine in 1988. She is highly intelligent and Emperor Guangxu really loves her. So if you ever seen the movie The Last Emperor, and if you know Chinese history in the Qing dynasty, you know Cixi, who is the most powerful woman in the Qing dynasty. Guangxu is just a puppet emperor. It was Cixi who is hiding behind the curtain and making all the final decisions. And Zhen Fei married Guangxu when he was 18 and became the emperor. She is highly intelligent and very good with military strategies. They fell in love, but obviously the real power behind the throne, the Empress Cixi, doesn't like it because she's kind of encouraged Guangxu, her husband, to have her own thoughts and wanting to be independent and not to be manipulated by Cixi. In 1989, Cixi seized the control of the government and imprisoned Guangxu. Zhen Fei, of course, being his wife, has been treated like a servant inside of the Forbidden City. She wouldn't allow her to speak or talking to anyone else, not even allowed her to writing, and then she eats just as the same food as the servant and the eunuch. For 3 years' time, Zhen Fei has always been bullied by her servant and the eunuch in the Forbidden City and lived a very poor life. And in 1900, when the Eighth Alliance attacked Beijing, Cixi is getting ready to flee. And facing the invasion, Cixi hates Zhen Fei so much that even before she leaves, she ordered Zhen Fei to kill herself. But Zhen Fei still persuades that she thinks Guangxu, the emperor, should stay in the Forbidden City and help to fight the Eighth Alliance. It makes Cixi even more angry. Cixi gives the order to the eunuch to toss Zhen Fei into one of the wells. And this is where the Zhen Fei's well came from. She was only 25 when she died. A year after Zhen Fei's death, Cixi returned from Xi'an to Beijing, and Zhen Fei's sister, Jing Fei, persuades Cixi to take her body out from the well, and that is when her body finally got buried in the emperor tombs. The haunting near Zhen Fei's well continues to capture the imaginations of many. Locals and visitors keep seeing a woman who is in Qing dynasty robes crying near the wells during the day and during the nights, singing and telling people in a language that they wouldn't understand or but looking really sad. People saying Zhen Fei's spirit is restless and still moaning for the injustice. The second legend, the shadow of the palace maid. Just after the founding of the People's Republic of China, a guy just walked near the Forbidden City and saw a kind of shadowy figures walking around the wall, and he went closer to look at it. It wasn't like human beings at all, because they're all dressing in the Qing dynasty robes and having a Latin in front of them, walking in very straight lines. And he was very confused and looking clearer. It was just like a projection of shadows, like you are peeking into the past. And something very similar happened again during 1988, when the film was shooting at night in the Forbidden City. So during that time, you can still making films in the Forbidden City. Of course, now it's completely banned. Because of the progress was very delayed, producer decided to do the night shoot, and everyone was really scared, and it was super cold at night. Just when they're doing the film, something really weird happened, and they started to see a lot of more people. They're all dressing in those very old Qing dynasty costumes, and people started to freak out. They basically fled and abandoned their set and wait till the next morning to come back. Then again, in 1992, during a thunderstorm, something strange happened again. The tourists and lots of tourists started to witness figure of maids walking across the wall along the Red Palace walls. Some of them even managed to capture in the cameras. Scientists later explained that it's because the painting they use in the Forbidden City has a lot of iron oxide, which is like a natural film reel. So something that happened in the past when there is a thunderstorm, and it will be captured on the wall. And sometimes you will be able to see those shapes and shadows on the wall. But when you see the shadow of the past approaching, you'll be very terrified no matter what. The third scary story, the encounter of the Shadow Army. In the early 1980s, there was a guy who is well known as being very brave, and he can eat apparently 8 steam buns at once. And he doesn't really believe in ghosts or any skeptical things. And he told everyone, I'm going to the Forbidden City and I will walk across the Yin-Yang Road, and I'll come back and let you know there's no ghost existed. People was like, all right, okay, I guess he will be fine because he's so strong. But the next day, he looks completely lost and lost his mind, was so scared, and people asked him what happened. He was in tears and then told people that after he said that and was walking on the street, he started hearing voices. I heard you are going to the Yin-Yang Road. What is Yin-Yang Road? Yin-Yang Road is a well-known lane that existed in the Forbidden City that is crossing the yin and yang, the live and the death, the world we currently and the underworld. He was trembling, pale as hell, and he couldn't speak clearly, but people slightly figure out he thought he was hearing things. But the voice came again. I heard you are walking the path of yin and yang. Terrified, he dropped everything and ran outside, shaking. Though no one saw what happened, his health declined rapidly, and he can't eat as much as he used to be. And very soon, he died from very strange illness. Those are the few stories that I've collected today. If you like any more, please let me know. I'm Mimi, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye!